Hey Terrarians, how's it going? My name is Pixelated Fireball, and welcome back to more Pinkymod. So, I'm actually recording this video on the same day that I did the last one, but I'm not gonna release it until tomorrow because I like keeping you waiting in suspense, which I feel like almost none of you are. But I'm gonna tell myself that you are because it makes me feel better about myself. So, I did do some things off camera, but not very much, other than upgrading my equipment, trying to get some better affixes for all of my gear as best as I could with what I could afford because I don't have a super high amount of gold. I upgraded my weapons, and I actually was advised that King Slime does drop something unique, but it is not a 100% drop chance. So I went and I killed him a couple of times, and I did get this weapon called the Drifting Dark. I'm assuming this is what they were talking about. It has a relatively high critical strike chance, 20%, and it is auto swing. It is not as good. It's early game, so it's not as good as what we have now. But it says, overweight katana that appeared to be carried by a ninja, despite ninjas never traditionally using katanas. Is that historically accurate? I don't know. Sure, we'll go with it. Then perhaps it is not his. Who knows? King Slime just kind of hops around and does whatever he feels like and just consumes, big fat blob he is, so who knows what he picked up in his time bouncing around Terraria. And it's actually a material, and it makes a hard mode sword, which is actually really easy to make. Just a couple souls a night, some drifting dark, and some sunken gems, which we got from the ocean. So, pretty powerful. I'm assuming it's also auto swing, does a good chunk of damage, and has some interesting lore to read about. But we'll do a little bit of that later on, but it'll definitely be something to keep on my mind until then. So also another thing that I've been neglecting is reading about the lore of the monsters that I have killed. So, I'm going to take a look at some of that now. And I've scrolled down to about where we left off, the harpies. And I'll just leave this on screen for a second. I'm not going to read everything because that would take forever. But I'll just leave this on screen for a couple of seconds at a time to let you guys take a look at it if you want to. Pause it, pause the video. This thing actually interested me because both the Harpy Vanguard and the Harpy Skyguard have the same second page. And it says, while they are annoying, you should refrain from killing too many of these guys. If not, you might make some person angry. So it's really interesting. I was told as well that there is something that can show up if you kill too many harpies. And I imagine that's probably a mini-boss or a boss that I'm probably nowhere near ready to fight. So, refrain from going up to the sky. Gotcha. There's the Air Puff. I thought this was actually pretty funny. Passive creature that wants to give unlimited free hugs and kisses to everyone. But, yeah, they kind of kill you when they smash their face into you. Same thing as before, as I said. Sither Flight. Pretty simple. Prepare to die. This was the thing that I was actually laughing about. It's that thing that just kind of came at you, spinning in circles out of nowhere. It does pretty much the same thing. They mean no harm. Cloud kisses have a highly corrosive component. Make sure you keep that in mind. Next time you're up in the sky and you want to give a cloud a kiss, it's probably going to dissolve your face when you touch it. Keep that in mind. There's the Stargazers. Rotworm. Enchanted Pikesman. Crimson Bloodthirster, which I found over in the Crimson when I was running through. Not a monster, it's actually a human in a robe. Really fascinating. Big, horrifying mosquito monster. And the Reaver. Saw the ice variety over in the ice biome off to the side, but I didn't actually get a chance to kill it. So, that's pretty much the lore. Hopefully that wasn't too terribly boring for you, but I figure I'd share it. I did actually read most of those off camera. So, there's actually some pretty interesting stuff in there. It's worth a read, worth a little look through. Short little segments about it, but hey, I love that kind of stuff, so that's definitely right up my alley. And the only other thing left to do now, as I've pretty much gone as far as I think I can go with the current resources that I have available to me now, it's time to take a trip over to the Crimson. And I was told to bring this mineral mirror with me for my fight with the Brain of Cthulhu, which I imagine we will use it to get some more ores or resources after we kill him. So let's head on over there and see what we can find. Alright, here we are in the Crimson finally. Got a little bloodthirster down there running around through the caves waiting to eat our face. Also, something that I noticed about these melee weapons that shoot those projectiles, it's worth noting that the projectiles themselves don't actually cause any of the debuffs, like the one given by the Bloodstained Fang or the armor. So if you're wondering why it's not doing anything, it's not because you're unlucky, it's just the only thing that will afflict them with debuffs is the actual sword itself if you hit them with it. Something to keep note of. You gotta be pretty close. See right there, those little numbers coming up. That was the bleeding effect. So if you want to do its full damage, you have to take the risk of getting in close and smashing it in the face with it. So far, nothing else overwhelmingly new or interesting down here. I did see a turtle a while ago, which made me raise an eyebrow, but I know better to assume that turtles are evil. He was just captured by the Crimson's monstrosities, and that's why he was down here, totally innocent. Definitely not a secret overlord of the corruption. Definitely not. You're the Crimson, rather. Any kind of evil. He's not evil, is what I'm saying. And I will go to my grave believing that still. Ah, Bloodthirster. They have a lot of health. They actually hit pretty hard. All the modded enemies, I don't know if it's just the fact that it's expert mode or just the way that they are, but they hit so very, very much harder than everything else in regular Terraria. I don't know if that's normal, but they all hit like freight trains. They'll hit for like 70, 80 damage, whereas the regular mobs hit for like 30, 40. See right there. So I guess now that I've ran around down here and haven't seen much of anything new besides the new mobs, I'm just gonna build up the arena for the Brain of Cthulhu fight, rather, and beat his buns and see what he does for us. I don't imagine that the Brain of Cthulhu is actually gonna pose all that much of a threat for me, just because of the way the boss is designed. The fact that it has knockback and the majority of the fight is pretty much comprised of just killing his creepers, and they're pretty face roll. So, I finished up building my arena. It's not really all that complicated. I just put a couple of platforms up and some campfires for some additional life regen. That's probably all I'm gonna need. And the only other thing I did was block off those tunnels over there, except for the one that I'm gonna run down, to prevent the majority of those extra mobs coming out and trying to kill me during the fight. So, without any further ado, let's run down here, break this last shadow orb, and run back. It's coming from that way. I gotta hurry up. Oh, there he comes, and there they go. There go his creepers. There he comes, gonna throw some more at him, look at that, and they're gone, goodbye. Yep, most of them are gone. Oh, and there we go. Now the main part of the fight, the extremely difficult part. Ah, he's getting a little close for comfort there. And he's dead already. What? The surface of the mineral mirror is shaking. So I actually killed him a lot faster than I was expecting to. I'm not even gonna lie, this sword hits him like a truck. Like he just deleted himself. Probably by far the easiest boss fight. I actually imagine that probably the Eater of Worlds would have gone down about as quickly just because of how he's designed as well, but man, I'm almost tempted to kill him again just because that was so easy. Do I have any shadow orbs left? Yes, I do have 3 left, so you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. Well, that's interesting. I never knew that about the sword, but whenever you're up against a wall like this, when you swing straight out, the projectile and the sword, I think, maybe just the projectile, will go right through the wall, so something to keep in mind if you want to wall yourself in for a farm. It's interesting. Don't know if it's supposed to do that, but there you go. You have to shoot straight out, up or down, and the projectile will be blocked. So something else that I forgot to mention before I fight the boss again is this weapon here, the Crimson Rod. Typical Crimson weapon actually has dark damage, so I'm assuming that must be the new damage type in the mod that I've been reading about. I don't know if I've actually received dark damage from an attack before. If I have, I don't think I've noticed, but this deals it, so I guess we'll use that on the brain to see what it does. So let's break this. Rotting Fork. The melee weapon does not do it. Maybe it's only a select few weapons. Alright, let's drop this. Try not to get killed by it while I let these things get hit by it. I don't see it having any kind of extra effect. Maybe it is, and I just can't notice it, but now I don't see anything, so alright, before this thing kills me, let's wipe it out. And he's down again. Just like that. Kicked his butt twice. Well, I guess it just didn't proc on that guy, and if it did, I guess I just didn't notice. Or maybe these guys are resistant to dark damage because of the fact that they're crimson. We'll have to go back to the target dummy outside of our base and give it a try. See if it does anything different. So, onward. Oh, also, let's not forget to use the mineral mirror. You gaze into the mirror, and stone in the desert depths grow cold. So I guess that means our next stop is the desert, which I believe is correct because those archaic shards require crimson stuff to make anything with them. So, let's deposit these things and see what they do. Wait, what does that say? The manifestation of Pinky materializes fully. Wait, hello, what? Who are you? Oh my god, this must be the mini-boss they were telling me about. Ow, okay. Is Is this it? Is this he just glides at me very quickly? Catching me unprepared in my own home. We got a good bunch of stuff from it. So, Ring of Blades, the Tyrant to the naked eye. Damage is increased, reflects some incoming melee damage back to attackers. It's a material. We got the Pendant of the Endurer, the Sufferer in Silence. Increases endurance by 8%, increases max HP by 20. Further increases when below 25. That sounds really powerful. Pink Gel, Crystal Shards. Ooh, that gives me some access to some interesting things, I think. This pink gel, does it make anything special? Yes, it does. Looks like late game things, though. Also, it looks like both of these things can be combined together. I don't know if that's common to get them both at the same time, but hey, I got them, so I think I will combine them together and see what they do. So, together they both increase endurance by 8%, max HP by 20, further increases below 25, damage is increased, reflects some incoming melee damage back to attackers. And it says, in service of Lord Pinky, glory to the slime army. Yes, we will make it. And it looks like it can be used to be upgraded even further in hard mode. But that's nice, that's actually quite a good bit of stats. I think I will replace the Band of Regeneration with it, because that little bit of extra health, some more damage reduction, definitely worth it. We'll upgrade it eventually whenever I get the gold for it. Also, there's these flasks that it dropped. Restores 15 life, not super useful. It is used as currency during the old slime age, but still edible. Not to be confused with Estus Flask. Okay, well, I guess I'll hold on to it and not drink it, because it sounds like it might be useful later on. Okay, well, that took a minute. You may be asking yourself, what are you talking about, Pixelated Fireball? Hey, why do you have 9 million Shields of Cthulhu in your inventory? Where did all that goblin stuff come from? Well, I'll tell you. Right the absolute split second before I started to get ready to show off the stuff that I made, there was a Night of the Eyes, which is fine. I didn't mind that, it was okay. At some point, I don't remember when exactly, but I was actually attacked by 3 Eyes of Cthulhu at the same time, which, lucky me, with one of the new weapons that I'm going to show off later, I'm basically an unstoppable force of destruction now, so I just kind of stood there, let them smash me in the face, and obliterated them all in a matter of seconds. So that was easily dealt with, got all this stuff, and then, immediately afterwards, the very next day, a goblin army is approaching from the east. And again, like I said, I am fortunately an unstoppable force of destruction, so I mop the floor with them. I just now have an inventory filled with things, so I'm going to clear this out, and then I'm going to show you all the new stuff that I made, which was quite a bit. So the very first thing that I want to get out of the way is straightening out this dark damage. See, I casted it, and I really don't... Maybe I didn't put it in the right spot. I really don't know. Maybe it's those little ones that are popping up there that's doing it. I can't really tell whether or not dark damage is affecting it. Or maybe this is just a weak weapon or a low-powered weapon, so you don't notice it right away. But it's doing a good bit of damage, so I mean... I guess, you know, not bad. So with that dealt with and out of the way, I want to show you some magic stuff first. The first thing is not a weapon. It is a mana catalyst. And you make that with the crystal shards, some mana crystals, and some silk. Pretty powerful trinket. Additional 40 mana plus some increased magic damage. It can be upgraded. You can use it to make the Celestial Soul Band, which just has the same effects, moderately reduced mana cost. You make this out of the Ring of Souls, which is a hard mode item. Pretty decent trinket. So the next, well, first weapon that I want to show is this Mana Wand, which is a really early game item that I completely skipped over because I wasn't making any mana crystals. You literally just make it out of any wood and a mana crystal. Pretty easy stuff to come by if you make it to the first night. It has a really short projectile, but it does regenerate a little bit of mana. Something that you can't tell immediately because I'm attacking a target dummy with it, is that it does seek after things that you cast it at, so something to take note of for later. Next is a melee weapon called the Furantor, or the Furantor, I think. You make this weapon out of those crystal shards, some obsidian, some, I guess it would be crimtane bars, sunken gems, and 2 mana crystals. A lot of things go into it, but all things that are very easily obtained. It's sort of like a battle mage type weapon. It fires a wave of mana, which uses mana, but restores more mana than it uses on hit. So, you just keep casting it out, and even though it requires 4 mana, it'll keep restoring mana. So it's a decent way, if you're a mage, you can use this if you run out of mana, and you don't want to use any mana potions, you don't have any anymore, you can cast this out, and it will restore some for you. I'm not 100% sure how much it regenerates, a good handful of it. As long as you keep anyway, the point is, as long as you keep using it, it'll restore mana. And then the next and final weapon I wanted to show off, the upgrade for our Blue Sky Blade, my god, the Rune Broadsword, which I was given the legendary version of, so it must be fate that I use this weapon. But you make it out of some carbonium alloys, some tissue samples, and mana crystals. Really, really cheap recipe. Draw upon the power of mana to deliver powerful blows. Damage scales with the amount of fallen stars you have in your inventory, capping at 30. The more stars you have, the more abilities this sword will have. So, I actually have exactly 30 fallen stars. And this thing, I mean, just, first of all, look at it. The thing is massive. And then, just watch the damage over there. Look at that. Look at all the things that it does. There are crits flying up everywhere. It doesn't have the projectile, but it is auto swing and hits like a truck and adds so many extra effects. So this, with the set bonus and the Bloodstained Fang, plus the 30 stars, I don't even know what else it does without the stars. Let's drop those in our piggy bank and see how it's like without it. It's just a regular sword. Yeah, does not hit as hard. With 30, the damage goes from 38 all the way up to 65, and it has all these extra effects that just make it a face melter. This is the weapon I used against the Eyes of Cthulhu I told you about, the two that came charging at me and tried to kill me. I just stood there. I don't know if it increases my health regeneration or gives me any kind of buffs at all whatsoever. I have no idea what all the effects are or how the amount of stars you have in your inventory affect it, but there you go. That is a beast of a weapon. So the next thing that I wanted to show you were the Altituned tools, which we make out of the Deathbringer pickaxe for the pick, and then the Bloodlust cluster and the Flesh grinder together for the ham axe. So while the pick does not have the same pickaxe power as the Reaver Shark, it is much faster, I believe. As we upgrade it further along, it'll become progressively more powerful. We can take it all the way into hard mode. And the ham axe is just a fairly decent upgrade overall. We definitely needed one. The ideal ham axe for doing ham axey things. So there you go. If you got some ham axey business that you got to get done, this is the ham axe for you. Alright, and the very last thing that I wanted to show you, I promise I'm going to shut up for a little bit after I do this because, my god, I've been talking a lot. But the very last thing that I wanted to show you was this item called a Carbon Truffle Pod. You make it out of blinkroot seeds, some tissue samples, carbonite chunks, and those divine gems. When fully grown, it turns into a fruit that will forever boost your endurance. Up to 5 can be eaten. It grows in compost. So I just planted myself a little farm over here and put the seeds that I could make in it. I don't know what it does. I don't know how long you have to wait for it. Okay, you can just get it right now. It doesn't take too terribly long. Increases damage absorption by 1.5 permanently. You consume the carbon truffle and feel a sense of persisting endurance. So what does that do for me? Well, I guess I don't really have anything to test it on. I guess we'll just have to see whenever we go over to the underground desert. Yep, and that's pretty much it. That's all the new stuff that I'm able to craft. There's a lot of things that I do need meteorite for. I kind of almost completely forgot about that. I don't even remember if one has spawned yet. Might have happened while I was off camera and I just don't remember it, but we're definitely going to have to go take a look for that, go to the underground desert and explore over there and see what lies in store for me underground, underneath the sand. I imagine whatever it is probably going to get its face smashed into a million buggy, sandy pieces by my Rune Broadsword. That will be a relentless whirlwind of destruction down there. Alright guys, well I hate to do this to you, but I don't want to run the risk of the video being super long again. I am kind of worried about that. If you guys don't care, feel free to let me know. But I'm trying, like I said, trying to keep everything at or around 20 minutes, so I don't want to go exploring in the desert yet, and I don't want to go looking around for the meteorite because I don't want it to be too long. I feel like I'll run way over if I do either of those. So this is where I'm going to call it quits, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking me out. And as always, whatever it is, wherever you are, day or night, hope you're having a good one of those. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.